world where you're happy because it's like he takes a fall, right? Say Tyson takes the fall, which is in the cards. And then it's like we got to keep gassing up the worst person in the world.
Who just like refuses to box against real active boxers.
Right.
It like only wants to fight either fucking cartoon characters or people who have never been
Like
in a boxing match before.
Fight Klitschko, you know? Like what do you know, like I'm not sitting here watching you fight like Looney Tunes characters.
It's people are dumb enough to pay for him to fight cartoon characters. If you're gonna pay me a lot of money to fight cartoon characters, I'm not gonna fight a real boxer either. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah,
that sounds
fair.
Not fun.
It's great. Just primetime exhibition fights. It's unbelievable how you've been able to squirrel your way into millions of dollars that way. Look, and we're sitting here on the podcast talking about it, and he's a millionaire, so like whatever. But it's so gross.
He's an awful person
too. That's nuts.
and I, by the way, I just said that Jake Paul was the worst person in the world. He's also fighting, and that's in comparison to fighting Mike Tyson. Like, you know what I mean?
Convicted rapist Mike Tyson.
Did y'all see the clip of him being interviewed by the little girl journalist today?
Yes.
I didn't dare watch that. What happened?
It's like a 12-year-old girl interviewing Mike Tyson or whatever, and she's like, yeah, so kids my age, like, we didn't get to watch you fight, blah, 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 like, but there's a lot of kids who are going to be watching this time. What kind of legacy do you want to leave for the next generation? And Mike Tyson's basically like, why the fuck would I want to leave a legacy? I'm just going to die. Like, who cares?
He's like, I don't believe in legacy. Who cares about that? Like, we're just going to be dead, and then we're all dust, and all of us are just going to be dead. And the little girl is clearly like taken aback, like, holy shit, I just asked you a standard question, and you responded with the most like fucking nihilistic shit that you could come up with. And so she's like, okay, well, I've never heard that one before. And he just like does not read the room. He does not end it like he could have been like, but that's why we got him. He just keeps going. He does not even read the fact that she is awkward. He just continues. Like it's insane.
He's like, yeah, why would I give a fuck? Like, that's fucking stupid. Blah blah blah. Like this 12-year-old girl, and then she's eventually just like, okay, well, thanks for sharing that.
Oh my god, Jesus! Great, yeah, real fun. So what? Who? I granted that good for that girl and getting up there and being brave enough to ask that guy questions. But I'm like, who let her do that?
Oh, that's a
Netflix trying to be for the kids. See, this is why Netflix must be stopped at all costs.
The fact that it's so easy, I don't even have to go pull up an illegal stream. I can just go to Netflix. It's just too easy for me not to watch.
I've been telling y'all for years that Netflix is a danger to society. They're a threat to democracy, and they have to be eliminated.
Their whole bit is that they always just wanted to be cable. They wanted to be movies, but then they wanted to be cable. That's the Dex went on this all in all. It's like just now they are TV, like, and they keep upping their prices to be the exact same amount as cable. But what they wanted to do was just get into this whole, live streaming event thing. Amazon sort of got out in front of all of it, and aren't they going to have basketball now too?
Yep.
NBA basketball.
They're getting basketball.
Netflix getting WWE
football games and WWE. Like they're trying, and they're also doing this like cartoon shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I knew when they were like, we have the streaming rights to Monday Night Raw. I was like, it's over.
It's over.
It is so over.
Whatever this. Sorry, I'm trying to tweet out the episode. We haven't even really started it yet, but actually trying to blue sky out the episode, which doesn't have the same ring to it, but neither does X. So whatever.
Yeah,
you're trying to skeet out the episode, is what you're saying?
Skeet out the episode, yeah. That's what
oh no, is that what it's called?
That's what they're called. They're not called tweets. They're called skeets.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, it's awful, but it makes for hilarious content. But
Oh
it's
man,
awful.
don't like that. Anyway, welcome to a One Take Podcast, episode 187. This week we are talking Oscar contenders, baby. Big Oscars hours in October already. Even the best movies of the year really haven't come out wide into theaters, but we got two. We're going to really talk about one, Conclave, the new film from, I believe, Edward Berger?
I think that's right.
Edward
Yeah,
Berger, yes.
Edward Berger. And then Dex and I will have a little conversation, and TG can chime in if you want, but Dex and I will have a little conversation about Anora because we both saw that, and it is
No, I'm logging off. I'm not going to let y'all spoil anything for me.
It is the
Anora
league leader in the clubhouse of Best Picture, Best Actress already.
Wait, it is?
Yes.
It has the best odds already?
I'm pretty sure it won that or The Brutalist, which is like not a real movie. You can't convince me
movie.
Can't convince me that thing's actually going to come to theaters anywhere.
Wow, I haven't looked at the odds. I didn't know it was. I knew that it was getting Oscar buzz, but I didn't know it was the number one seed. Holy shit!
Yeah, people are really rocking with it, which it definitely makes sense. It's a really good movie, but also it's like, huh.
As of October 23rd, Gold Derby had it at number one on leading contenders.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll make sure I tap into Anora.
Conclave is at number 3. And Sean Baker, I got to watch the rest of his stuff because what an interesting filmmaker that guy is. And has been slowly climbing the ranks of like indie to household name. So yeah, I thought it was a great film, honestly.
One of my favorite things is when the Oscar movies come out and I have not seen trailers. Like I had not seen a trailer for Conclave. I just started to hear the Oscar buzz and knew it was time for me to tap in, but I had not seen a trailer. And I have also not seen a trailer for Anora. I literally get to walk in blind. That's the greatest shit of all. It's cool. So fucking refreshing. I had no idea I knew what Conclave was about because I know what a Conclave is. But other than that, I literally knew nothing. I didn't know anybody in the cast. I literally knew nothing. And that shit felt so perfect sitting down knowing absolutely nothing, just ready for cinema to take over. I love that shit.
I also didn't know like what Conclave actually entailed. I had like heard people talking about how good it was, and I knew that it was a Pope movie. And I knew there was like, I called it Gossip Pope. Like I just heard about like all this like workplace gossip that went around the Pope, but I didn't know like what Conclave meant exactly or like what the drama was like or what it was about. So yeah, walking into this movie, I was like, it's a fucking Pope movie. I hate those. I don't watch them. I don't consume Pope content. The new Pope, the young Pope, two popes, none of the popes.
Same. The two popes is not even a real film. That's
not a real film
that exists.
Again, if you click on the two popes on Netflix, it'll take you to the Jake Paul fight.
Yeah, so I was like, this is gonna be stupid, and then I saw everyone say it's amazing, and I was like, how amazing could it be? It's about the Pope, but it actually is amazing.
Yeah, so we're talking about Conclave, 2024 movie, played at a bunch of festivals, I believe. It's based on a book by Robert Harris. It is rated actually PG, one of the few like PG movies that I've seen.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In a long time. They're either like G-rated Disney films,
or at least
PG-13 or PG-13. Rarely do you get the PG rating anymore. But and I could be wrong. Like Inside Out could probably be PG. But anyway, when Cardinal Lawrence is tasked with leading one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, selecting a new pope, he finds himself at the center of a conspiracy that could shake the very foundation of the Catholic Church. 7.6 on IMDb, 79 Metascore. Directed by Edward Berger, his follow-up to the unbelievable All Quiet on the Western Front, which is a good Netflix movie.
Wait, same guy?
Same guy.
Holy shit.
And All Quiet on the Western Front bangs, but it's a very different movie than the one that we just watched.
Yeah.
Very different.
All Quiet on the Western Front might be the most brutal movie I've seen in 5 years. It's unbelievable, but I really like
this movie's Inside Out compared to what they were doing and what the hell they had going on in that movie. Jesus Christ.
I did not realize that was the same guy. Shows how much homework I do for this podcast, but
I'm in Burger Hive, but this movie, Sign Still Delivered. I enjoyed this movie, and I was like, okay, this guy's 2 for 2 in the last two. I'm with him. I'm with him, man. I'm a fan.
Stars a ton of people that you have known over the course of a long time. Rafe Fiennes, is it Fiennes? Rafe Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini, and then a host of faces that are Brian F. O'Brien and a host of faces that I know that guy from somewhere, but then some guys coming in here throwing like 1,000 miles an hour, like
I said
Josh
that about the
Groban
lead
as
guy. I
Wozniak.
forgot that this was the guy from The Menu. So the
Yeah,
whole
I
movie, I was
kept
like,
thinking that the
I've
entire
seen
time.
him
I'm like, this
before.
is Mr.
And then
Menu.
at the end, I went with Mo. Mo was like, yeah, that's the guy from The Menu. I was like, oh shit, The Menu is a movie that exists. I have literally erased it from my memory. I didn't need to think about The Menu anymore.
Everybody remembers when The Menu went viral on Twitter for a week and a half.
It's a great week because we called it.
Yeah, I mean, he's Voldemort, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say he's also
Voldemort. That's who he really is. He's Voldemort.
He's Mr. Menu of the Menu fame.
This came out a while. Mr. Menu, is that what you just called him?
Yeah, he's Mr.
Menu.
When did this first get released in theater? I think it got released like early October, and it's kind of just hung around. Or no, towards Halloween. October 25th is when it got released. It's kind of just hung around. $24 million gross worldwide. I don't think it's going to do gangbusters, but they've really kind of just left it there for a few weeks, and it's more and more. I had a packed theater to go see this movie. Granted, it was a smaller screen, but it was one of those things where I was in there with the olds and the Baylor religion majors, and I was like, this is going to be good. This is going to be a banger. Critics tend to agree. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, 85% from audiences, carrying off Papal Pulp with immaculate execution and career highlighting work from Rafe Fiennes. Conclave is a godsend for audience who crave intelligent entertainment.
Hey man, Rotten Tomatoes, with all due respect, y'all getting on my nerves now, man. Chill out, all right? We get it. It's a movie about the Pope, okay?
Yeah, and also with you, is what let's start here. Is anyone in here Catholic?
No.
Okay, good. So we know exactly what we're talking about when it comes to all of this. Glad we're establishing that early. We know all the things. We're very in depth with this part of Christianity and everything else. So this is going to go great and will offend no one. Speaking of which, Tej, go ahead.
I really enjoyed this movie. I knew what Conclave was, but I had never I feel like, and who knows how accurate any of this stuff is, not like historically, but I mean like the process of it. Like who knows how accurate this stuff looks like, but it felt like I was in that world. It felt like I was seeing kind of the way they stick to their detail in terms of how this actually works. Okay, we start the movie, the Pope is dead. Now what happens? Now someone's going to do this. Now we've got to put this garment up like this. I really enjoyed that kind of rote processing. At the same time, you're getting to know our characters and our main characters and kind of realizing their relationships to each other. It's very well written. The score is amazing. I was absolutely positively locked in at every minute of this movie. And the way the way you get information, obviously these people are sequestered. So they need to interact with the outside world, but they can't get information at the time in which they need it, which is used as a plot device. Like, I have to go forward with the ceremony right now, but I'm really trying to get information about what's happening, what this guy's got going on, what this guy's got to say about this other guy. That is a really good plot device to use. There's jokes, like the scene in the cafeteria and there's the end is like actually funny. Our lead is just cooking. He's got something in his eyes that just like conveys that he feels this passion, but also like he is not being ambitious like everybody is accusing him of, or other people are being like blatantly ambitious because they all want to be the Pope. Some of them are trying to make it seem like they don't want to be the Pope, but they all want to be the Pope. I just really enjoyed it. I wanted to go A+, but I have some the ending doesn't really work for me. Or I won't say it doesn't work. I just didn't love the ending. But otherwise, I had a fucking great time. It's a phenomenal film. I cannot wait to see it again. I gave it an A. I know I said in the chat that it was an A-, but I woke up and I was thinking about stuff, and this is an A movie. This movie is going to be nominated for Best Picture. It should be. I was incredibly fascinated with it, and Berger coming out of going 2 for 2 makes me want to go watch all those other stuff, because I think maybe I've seen some of his other movies and didn't realize it was him, but I think I've only seen this one in All Quiet on the Western Front, which I really enjoyed, and obviously we did an episode about that, didn't we?
We at least talked about it on.
We at least talked about it Oscar time. But
Yeah,
I feel like we got takes off about it.
We talked about it.
Yeah. So, but I really enjoyed that movie. It wasn't my pick for Best Picture that year. This could be my pick for Best Picture. I haven't seen Anora. Dune 2 still is in my brain somewhere. That's the thing that happened. It was great. Cinema was back. But if I'm being honest, right now, my favorite in the clubhouse is probably still Challengers. I just love Challengers. I am Challengers Hive. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to knock me off of the Challengers as a top spot movie, but I'm obviously excited to see Anora. This movie belongs there. This movie will be awarded. Berger crushed it. Tucci's great. I also love John Lithgow. Like, anytime Lithgow shows up in something, I'm having a good time. But also, like, he's like a skeevy person to where, like, he could, like, talk his way out of stuff. So I knew immediately not to trust him because of who was playing him. I was like, all right, already John Lithgow's on some bullshit. From the beginning, I was like, no.
Trinity Killer.
He's going to be on bullshit. That's literally the Trinity Killer. That dude's going to be on bullshit, bro. So I had a great time with it. Great casting. I gave it an A.
Right now, I'm looking at Challengers is going off at 100-1 to win Best Picture. So like
100-1.
Yeah, like,
let me go put my money down.
There's a chance it doesn't get like any awards besides maybe Zendaya gets like some love somewhere, but like
best score, it'll be
best score, but it's not as high in the Academy's regard, or maybe it just came out too early or has died down. It's not as high in the Academy's regard as it is in Twitter's. So
we think because there's some shit every year that it's like, oh, Gold Derby didn't really have that one on the radar, like, yeah, we were really thinking about that, and then the nominations dropped that morning and we're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like the America Ferrera nomination last year, like,
yeah,
there's always some shit where the Academy likes movies more than we think they might in some ways. But anywho.
Yeah. Speaking of the ending, Dex, you well, I don't know if you liked it or not, but you were shocked by the ending of this movie.
I was absolutely shocked by the end of this movie. I did not see that shit coming, and I think that's both good and bad, right? Like, I saw this movie on Tuesday, $5 Tuesday at the local cinema. And so, there were quite a few people in there who are like just fucking movie nerds and probably go to the movies every Tuesday just to see some random bullshit for $5, And so throughout this movie, at all the major plot reveals, there were like slight gasps, kind of like ooh, like, all of those kind of things. When that big reveal at the end happened, everyone was like audibly like, oh fuck, like, what the fuck is that? Which, like I said, is both good and bad. It's fun to be shocked and surprised by things, but also, like, some things are so shocking that they feel like they came from a different movie, And this movie, like, without spoiling, this movie gave a couple of like little like hints at that kind of thing coming. Some big reveal for that character. Kind of laying the groundwork for like the arena of topics that might be in, but it still feels kind of out of left field, and like that's not what this movie was about the whole time. So I'm on the fence about it. It was a cool like shock, and then you think about it a little more, and you're like, we didn't really need to do that at the end. So yeah,
That's
I'm like,
just stole my take. I felt the exact same way. Like, everything that you just said is exactly how I thought. I was shocked, and then I was like, that's not what this movie was about, though. Like, I thought this movie was about the fact that all of them are flawed. We all have our flaws, and then this person is not flawed. It's just like, oh, by the way. And it felt so like, and I'm liberal, but it felt like Oh, the woke mob got to the end of this movie, bro.
This is
I'm
the
sorry.
woke. This
That's
is
what
the
they were
woke
talking
nonsense
about.
I literally
that got
took this
trouble,
movie over
like-
for the last page, and the woke mob wrote the end of the movie, and I was like, okay, but I like the movie more if we could have ended wherever we ended, but like I felt like what I was taking from the movie does not track with the ending of the movie, and they're not beholden to me and my interpretation of what they were making. But I thought what they were making, what I thought it was about, was so interesting, and then that happens, and I'm just like, oh, that feels like a different movie. It feels like it's
they were
from a different
making
movie.
a different movie than
Well,
what I
it's-
thought they were making.
Everything, and I'm not saying that like that in and of itself. Well, it's God, I hate talking about it in this way, like we're talking around because it's spoilers, and I don't want to spoil it because it is such a oh damn ending. But like,
I know we always spoil. Let's commit to not spoiling this on this podcast. We will not spoil it.
we'll try not to spoil it, or we'll give you a warning here. But it's like, I'll let you get back to your review, Dex. But we talked about this in the text messages. This movie's overtly about politics.
Yeah.
And the ending, while that specific topic has become a political topic, that like the political topic this year, which turns out it actually didn't matter in the end, but like it feels like it was also added in on top of, like, it's like they reshot
by
it.
the way.
Yeah, I don't know. This is probably I don't know how the book ends, because readings for yellow bellies, like Dex likes to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, it feels like and also,
yes.
But Dex, go ahead.
It feels like movie, comma, ending, and it's like, oh, we had there was a comma, like there was a comma before we ended this movie. But I was shocked by it, and there's something to be said about being able to shock a viewer in 2024 at the end of a movie. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. But apart from that, I really I did enjoy that part, but I'm a little iffy on it. Apart from that, I enjoyed the rest of this movie immensely. I thought it fucking ruled throughout. The score is incredible in this movie.
It's so good.
The cinematography is incredible in this movie, because there's like so many, there's so many like just scenes of these big ass rooms and like these little dudes talking in these big ass rooms, and like the way they like show the scale of like the church or whatever. Like it is so fucking cool. Like I said before, I usually avoid consuming any Pope related content, but this movie, like, it's about picking the new Pope, but like you don't really have to care about Catholicism to be locked in this movie.
That's the genius of it.
It might be better if you don't care about Catholicism. I don't know like how what their depiction of Catholicism would do for people who are Catholic. But yeah, it's about like politics and like workplace bullshit and climbing the ladder and doing what you got to do. Like I say this a lot to when people say something feels like high school or whatever, like they're complaining about like politics at work or whatever. I'm like, no, it doesn't feel like high school. High school feels like life. Like we do that at every level. But this movie has that. Like, people would say this feels like a high school where there's like a bunch of groups and they're all gossiping about each other and like posturing against each other, trying to be the cool kid, and like that stuff is just compelling, man. I don't care how old you are. Like we love that shit. Game of Thrones, Gossip Girl, doesn't matter. We love people. Like,
there was a teen pregnancy.
Yeah.
It's a teen pregnancy.
We like a little drama. Like you give people drama. They're like, okay, here's why they don't like each other. Now we're gonna have a confrontation. It's like that stuff just works in every medium, and then this movie is filled with that kind of drama that you're drawn to. You can't help but be drawn to it.
But like this movie takes it up a notch, because that like even if you're not Catholic, you don't care about Catholicism, that being the Pope is like the shit. The stakes are high. Like, being the Pope, that's like that's a big fucking deal. Like they
become the most famous man in the world.
Confirm, being the Pope, big deal.
You're about to be the most famous man alive. So the stakes, even if you don't know anything about Catholicism, the stakes of like, oh, this person's going to go from a literal relative nobody to everyone in the world will know their name. So that's obviously a lot of,
It's like you could make this about anything, right? Like they could be trying to be homecoming king or some shit.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
but the stakes are like, because it's the Pope, it's like, damn, sacred high, I'm locked in. This is like world changing. So that part of it rules. And like I said, the score in this movie is fantastic. The performances are all
I should
fantastic.
just mention that's Volker Bertelmann, who won the Academy Award for All Quiet on the Western Front for that kind of like 3-note synth score.
Wait, so he worked with the same guy?
He worked with the same guy, so he will more than likely get nominated for this.
Guys, we're
as well,
seeing
too.
something special in those two gentlemen.
Lock
We
'em
are
in.
seeing something. I did not. I'm so glad you said that. They are locked in. Run it back. Do it again. Do it again, guys. I love it.
They're the new fucking Nolan and Zimmer. Like, we'll have them just.
He is
locked in.
also doing the score for Dune Prophecy, that HBO Max show.
I was
That's
literally about to say they're not going to be able to lock in that much more because someone's going to call that guy. Someone's going to be like, "Hey, by the way, I got some other shit. When you're not on movie set with him, come do some shit with me." Well, he's already doing Dune Prophecy.
But yeah, the performances are great. I loved. It's not Ralph. It's Rafe.
I think it's technically Rafe, and I can't ever remember if it's Fiends or Fines, but whatever. British guy.
Mr. Menu. He's great. Stanley Tucci is great. I didn't know Stanley Tucci was in this movie. I knew Rafe Fiennes was, and I knew that Lithgow was. But seeing Stanley Tucci, I was like, oh shit! And then he has a really interesting character, which definitely worked. Yeah, I really like this movie. It's definitely in my like best picture nominees for sure. I don't know if I call it my leader for like should win, but it must be nominated. It's really fucking good. I give it an A.
Yeah, if you come out of this and you were like, regardless of the politics of it, and it tries to toe the line, and it's gonna really like lean more into the sensibilities of the coastal liberal than not. But like,
yeah, the liberals are clearly the good guy like the good guys of the movie,
right? And in fact, there's like a Trumpian figure in this movie who says, we need to send them back to where they came from. Essentially, is what the whole speech is about. After, I won't spoil it, but after like events happen in the film, but so it's going to really test better rather, with the liberal coastal elite. But regardless of your politics, if you come out of this movie and you're like, damn, that wasn't fun, you got a big dump in your pants and you can't enjoy anything.
Yeah.
You should come out of this, because essentially what Berger does, this is like a heightened version of 12 Angry Men, which is like one of the best movies of all time, but it's like 120 angry men voting on the Pope, and it's not to say that like the murder trial in 12 Angry Men isn't high stakes, but this is like,
but it ain't the Pope.
Yeah, you're voting for like the leader of 1 billion people. And I think that, Dex, you put it best in our text messages when you were like, I don't know if I'm ever going to see a movie that's not about the election again. And that's such a good point. And I had to steal that from you, because it's so good. And funny that this came out when it did. Maybe we should have put it out in August. But anyway, it is overtly about that. But in telling the story, it does such a good job of backroom politicking and working in the shadows, but it also intermixes stuff that I love about religious movies, about faith and doubt and prayer and forgiveness and things of that nature. And I really love Ray Fiennes' character, because he gives some really, really good speeches and he gets his moments, but he's basically just like seen not being able to pray anymore and like doubting every move that he makes. And it's all in his face. And he does something. It's like they mic'd up the inside of his nose, because half the movie is him just breathing heavy as hell. Did y'all notice that? It's just like, and I'm just like, oh, like it's so disorienting. But and it's not like in all of this thing and this mystery and this intrigue sort of unfurls as you go deeper into the movie, and he knows that he didn't even want to be there. It was like, oh man, I got a promotion and I accidentally became important at my job and it's ruining my life. Like,
Yeah.
that's this whole thing. And then there's some like supernatural elements of all of a sudden he starts getting votes without even politicking for it. And, and there's a literal like lightning strike from heaven that changes that all around, and like, not literally, but you know what I'm saying, metaphorically. And then there's some supernatural elements to the character. I got to get his name because he's so important to the story, um, of the character that comes in and from Afghanistan. Where am I? What is his name in the?
Oh yeah, I don't remember his
Innocence.
name either, but
Well, I don't want to give it away, but sorry, I'm having a back. This is great radio. Okay, his name, the actor portraying him is Carlos Diaz, but Benitez, and there's sort of this angelic figure that comes in there in Benitez, and it's just the whole soup of the movie makes for just an entertaining ride of what is just essentially dudes in rooms talking,
yep,
which is a fan favorite on this podcast, or at least it is by me. Just dudes in rooms talking. And on top of everything else, I haven't seen like Stanley Tucci like not on TikTok cooking and being a serious character actor in forever. It seems like I know he's done good work and he's been in a lot of things, and I love Tucci, but this is one of his better characters in a long time, and I think a supporting actor, at least nomination, is a lock for him because
agreed.
he has his moments in the hallway when he's like all of a sudden confronting Lawrence about his ability to get votes, and he gets angry about it, and because he actually does want to be the pope for selfish reasons, because he doesn't want the conservatives to take over. And you know what this there's a little like, of course there's like, from what I know about Catholicism, there is like, of course, just like any politics, there's a movement to like go back to traditional values, and then there's a movement that, in their words, would continue taking the church forward in progressiveness, and there is so that is all at play here. And I think, hold on, sorry, I just set my wife's. Yeah, I just set my wife's car horn off. My bad. So there, I'm gonna have to edit that out. That was it. Just, I'm sure everyone in the neighborhood really appreciated that at 9 o'clock at night. So there's this back and forth between all of these folks, and things start to arise. And he's sort of like, he becomes. I heard somebody describe Ray Fiennes' character as sort of like the Hercule Poirot, the detective, the Sherlock Holmes figure
Mhm.
in this mystery. And I couldn't have described it better myself. And I think if you look at it in that light, it is really, really, it unlocks this movie to a greater level too, I think, still. But I don't have much to say about it other than dudes in rooms talking. Hell yeah. The ending I predicted 30 minutes before it happened, because they put every single political talking point in here except for the one that they did at the end. And yeah, I was,
Yeah,
I,
I did not see that shit coming, and I literally texted Royden because I knew we were like in the theater basically at the same time, but I think your movie started like at like 7 and mine started at 7:30 or something
yeah.
like that. So I knew you had already seen it, and I literally in the theater texted him, "What the fuck?" Because oh gosh, the movie was already a wild ride up until that point where it's like it felt honestly like watching good reality TV. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's some reality TV where it's just like the whole thing is just like boring slop the entire time and like whatever. But then there's like actually good reality TV where like the producers are doing their fucking thing and like reveals are coming out at the exact right time and like they build you up one way and then like completely zag you the other way with like a plot twist to reveal whatever. It felt like that. And then yeah, the ending I was kind of like this is not where we were building. It felt like this is just not what the rest of the show was about.
Can we spoil it? Can we continue? Can we give a
Let's
big
do it.
spoiler alert?
Let's
Because we got to
cover it.
talk about it, and I think the only way to talk about it is to go through. But T, do you have something before we spoil?
No, we can spoil before.
Okay.
Wee
woo. So the spoiler alert is that this Benitez character, who comes in like this angelic sort of Christ-like figure, this benevolent savior, I guess, if you will, of all this infighting, and he's like righteous and benevolent and headstrong and steadfast in his beliefs.
I didn't know he was gonna be there.
Yeah,
No one ever heard of the guy.
He comes out of the clouds. It was like, is this guy real? Like from the Pope? And all of a sudden, there's this moment in the movie. Just to go back, there's this moment in the movie where bombs are going off around Vatican City, around Rome, around Vatican City. One disrupts the conclave. Like I said, it was like a strike of lightning because Lawrence gets some, arrogance, I guess, and wants to go vote for himself. Some pride, I guess, and wants to go vote for himself. Well, the bomb goes off right near the conclave, explodes the windows, injures a couple of people, and then they have this big meeting about what had happened, and bombs are going off, and it was terrorist attacks across the city. Several dozens of people have died, but they still have to go vote for the Pope. Well, there's this, I called him a Trumpian figure. It is this Italian, I believe, Sergio Castellito, who is like vaping the entire movie too, which is
literally
like
vaping inside of these holy ass buildings, which was insane.
But he's throwing 110 miles an hour. I mean, he comes out. It's a great performance, but he comes out and he has this. We need to push forward with our like views and like, but basically push Muslims out and go further into our views and spread the good word through like basically force. Is kind of what he was saying. I'm butchering it, but he has this very send them back speech. And this Benitez character comes up and he has the opposite, which is Christ said, love each other. Let's continue to do that with acceptance and move forward. So on and so forth, so that our light shines, shining city on a hill, basically.
He did that rebuttal, like after the debates, they'll have another Democrat go on CNN and do the rebuttal. Yeah. He basically did that. in the church.
So that ends up getting him the 70% of votes that is needed to, was it 2/3 majority? Whatever
it was.
Yeah. To become Pope. He selects his name as being Pope Innocent, basically, the 12th or whatever it is. And they're trying to figure out the entire movie why the Pope wanted him there, and also why the Pope tried to send him to Geneva to have a surgery on the Pope's dollar. And it comes to light when Ralph Fiennes' character goes and confronts him. It's like, what was the surgery about? Like, nothing the Pope does needs to be a secret. The new Pope, yada, yada, yada. Well, it turns out that he has ovaries and a uterus. He is intersex, basically. And he turns out not to have wanted the surgery. The Pope wanted to get him a hysterectomy. And so it turns out he's a conflicting figure, both man and woman, and an anomaly, or not an anomaly. What's the word I'm looking for? But,
he has a uterus. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah. So it turns out that he's like, he said he's like this conflicting figure, but then it just kind of ends. Like Rafe Fiennes comes to kind of accept it, I guess. I don't know what mark it out from there, but I don't know. All that to say, it feels like they were like hard cut. Let's talk about sexuality.
Yeah, it feels like they were like, gotcha. Little did you know.
Yeah.
I really don't know, like, after that, what else there is to do with the movie. Like, you said it kind of just ends, but it's like, yeah, I guess it would have to. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like what is Ray Fiennes gonna do? Be like, hold up, guys, run it
3
back.
more hours, another conclave. Give me another conclave.
Yeah. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like that's what the movie was about. Like we keep saying, like, obviously there's a whole thing of that like maps very easily to American politics of like, loving all of the people who are different versus like wanting to kind of take the religion back to the 1800s or whatever, and reclaim Italian glory and make everyone speak Italian like they should because it's Catholicism or whatever the fuck. And yeah, all of that stuff just kind of feels thrown out when they're like, actually, he was hiding himself the whole time. You didn't realize that he had a uterus, and so he's a weird choice to be the Pope now. Ha! It doesn't work for me. I don't think.
It's just so weird because he is the audience. He's putting his finger in people's faces. You are never going to be the Pope. You can't be the Pope because they have disqualified themselves for whatever their actions were in the past, right? That is this guy. He's on a mission to make sure we have the cleanest possible Pope. That is his mission. His mission is not to be the Pope, even though he ends up voting for himself in the end when his bomb's going to go off. He does that because he feels like his duty to do so. He doesn't want to be the Pope. He can't even fucking pray. But it's his duty. It's his job. This man on a mission story is about a man who is trying to make sure that we don't get no dirty Pope. So we're going through all this. He is our inquisitor. He is making sure everybody passes the smell test. And then the last Inquisition is him asking the intersex person about a surgery they had. And then it's like, this feels so much different than all your other conversations because those people had done something wrong. This person didn't do anything wrong. And it's not like he was like, oh my God, we can't have this. Not like he reacted horribly. He just kind of didn't react. He just kind of was like, all right, well, that's the end of that. And I was just like,
Pope now.
A lot of people are going to have to get over it.
When we're ending it, like, are people going to find out? Like, I just felt like it's such a weird place to leave it. But I think the shock value is there, but I don't know if the juice was worth the squeeze. I think it's I probably enjoyed the movie more overall if somebody else becomes a Pope via some other means, not because this person is intersex, but because of what that person being intersex does to our journey of our main character. That's what I don't like about it. It's like I was having so much more fun when he literally told like 4 people, you will never be the Pope. That African man said, oh, it's not out yet. I still have hope. He says, no. You don't have any hope. You will never be the Pope. You can begin again. He starts barring him up. No, you can begin again, but you will never be the Pope. I like that part where he tells his own homeboy, his own liberal homeboy, I thought that I was voting for you for Pope, but I realize now you don't have what it fucking takes to be the Pope. You're weak. You're petulant. You will never be the Pope. I was having so much fun when he was going across these journeys, telling random ass white people and black people they were not going to be the Pope. And so to end it up there, where it's like not nobody who had done something wrong, he quite literally was born with a uterus. That is his big bomb. And I was just like, that's so much less interesting than the movie I thought that we were making. But I do think because I don't want to focus too much energy on this ending because the whole movie is so good. And what I think it makes it so good is that the movie is really about archetypes. Like, because most people don't know what goes into becoming the Pope, they're really just putting archetypes in there. You got a liberal dude who is liberal and looks like the good guy, Stanley Tucci, and all of a sudden his claws come out. And then you realize he's on the take too. You realize he just wants to stop this other guy, but he is not the most clean either. And so then you got this black man who be fucking hoes, who years ago got somebody pregnant, and he be on bullshit, but he's a black man. He's going to be the first African Pope. So that's his appeal. Now you got this Italian guy who's the most racist guy you've ever heard of. We literally, the first monologue we get from him is him talking about the fact that everybody used to speak other languages, and now there's all these bastardized languages that he has, that he don't want to hear. Everybody speaking their own languages. Everybody goes around their own countrymen. Yeah, of course you're gonna fucking sit at a table where people know your language. Like, you're not like, if I'm gonna talk to people and I'm supposed to curry favor with people, it's gonna be fucking hard to curry favor with people who I don't understand their language. So like, of course that's gonna happen. But he showed himself to be the most racist possible person even before his Trump Muslim ban rant that comes later. And so there's all these archetypes, but it's like to me, it felt like a really good use of these archetypes. And a lot of people who are writing a movie like this with archetypes would just fumble over it. It would be awful. I thought he did a really good job keeping the archetypes buttoned up. And so then that also makes the ending a little bit more strange to me, because the archetypes made sense to me. And then we had somebody who was a different archetype. And I was like, that's weird. It just felt weird. It just felt out of place for the rest of the movie.
You go from John Lithgow literally doing pay to play.
Yeah.
To like this guy has like different genetics than the rest of us. Oh. Okay.
Oh, okay. I will say, Stanley Tucci and my not the character that I like rooted for the most or anything, but my favorite character arc in this, because he starts out as like, he's doing the bit where it's like,
I don't want to be president.
I don't want to be the Pope. And you're supposed to be like, well, that means he should be Pope because he doesn't want to be the Pope.
Lisan El Gaib, like, he's not supposed to. Every time he denies it, it means that he's supposed to be the Pope because he doesn't want to be the Pope.
But he's too humble. Wants to be the Pope.
Benelli is too humble to say that he wants to be the Pope, so he must be the Pope.
And it rules because he it's so transparently wants to be the fucking Pope, like while he's doing that bit. And then, as it becomes very clear that he will not be the Pope, he starts just selling himself to the highest bidder, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And Stanley Tucci is an incredible actor, and he was really good throughout all of that. I loved watching his character, even though his character is a smarmy asshole who sucks.
I know this isn't true, but it feels like John Lithgow has been in 8 Pope projects. I know that's not true because the 2 popes is Anthony Hopkins, but
sure it is.
Yeah, I just have to say, on top of all this, I got real deep into Catholicism lore, and I just couldn't get enough of the Pope, so I did turn on the young Pope. Gotta say, not bad.
Really?
I just will never watch it because it's called the young Pope.
It's a lot of talking. The 2 popes with Anthony Hopkins and Jonathan Pryce. Could have convinced me one of those was John Lithgow, but so I started watching the young Pope. So I'll let y'all know how that goes. You'll never turn it on, but I will say that I have watched it 10 years later. That came out in 2016, by the way, I think. So one thing we need to get back to, I will say this, as someone that does, you may not know, but as someone that does attend church, you know what we need to get back to? Cool shit in our churches.
Yeah.
Can we get back to cool buildings?
Can we just pay random people millions of dollars to just do nothing but paint churches?
Yeah.
Decades.
Let's get back to marble sculptures. And now I know a lot of those were built off the pain and suffering of others. But
but
but give me a chapel somewhere,
Yeah. We don't need all these fucking laser shows and fog machines at worship. All right. Give me some fucking hand painted ceilings and shit with depict the entire story of the Bible or whatever the Sistine Chapel is. I don't know. I don't know what the actual painting represents in the Sistine Chapel. I just know it looks cool as shit. We need more of those.
I think what you're saying is that we need to give the churches more money. That's what this is your takeaway.
We need more money to the church. Take the money out of fucking acoustic guitar playing classes and fog machines and whatever cinema cameras they're using to live stream churches or whatever. Give them paintbrushes, all right?
Look, if we're not going to tax these things, might as well make great art. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If we're gonna let Joel Osteen buy basketball arenas, you gotta hand paint them.
Yeah.
Hand paint the ceilings.
Just 713 spray paint on everything.
Also, bring back robes and cool hats.
it's like it's got to be a little scary. You know what I mean? Just a little scary. Anyway,
yeah, robes and cool hats. Bring them back. I'll be back in church immediately.
So, real quick, TG, let's do, since you don't want to stick around for the Anora conversation.
I don't want to hear shit.
I'll cut this and put it back. Let's do what we're watching real quick. Do you have any? You talked about the Penguin a little bit.
Penguin is over. I'm about to tap back into Agatha, which is apparently good. So I'm going to tap back in.
Good things.
I'm watching what's the Zoe Saldana show? Lioness. I'm watching Lioness, and I'm also gonna tap into Shrinking season 2. Season 2 is out. I'm gonna tap into Shrinking season 2 here soon. I haven't started it yet, but I really enjoyed Shrinking. I think I'm gonna give Dune Prophecy a shot. I'm probably gonna listen to some word of mouth first. I'm probably gonna see what the timeline's saying about it. If the timeline's saying it's slow, I don't want to feel like I'm in Dune 1, but if it feels like I'm in Dune 2, I'll be tapped in. I don't want to feel like I'm in Dune 1. I've seen Dune 1 now twice, and I don't need to see that other than like 1 or 2 scenes. I don't need to see anything from Dune 1 ever again. So
we only want plotting and scheming if it's in the Catholic Church.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes, the plotting and scheming of whatever world Dune takes place in. Not so fun for that first hour and a half of that bland ass film, but pretty gowns, very pretty gowns.
Is Dune Prophecy? Is it like in the middle of like the story that we're in?
No, it's like way before.
It's like 1,000 years before.
Yeah, it's like way before. It's like basically the story of the Ben Jesuit, like those ladies who be whispering. It's basically their origin story.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
Same.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see.
But
can we talk about Denzel too before I leave?
King.
So tell me what y'all watching because we got to talk about Denzel. We have to.
So I have seen Gladiator 2. Wrote the review. I wrote a review for the first time in like a year and a half. So please go read it. It's on apollohau.com. Great website. Denzel Washington is the coolest motherfucker of all time. Like in any category of human beings. Like there's just never been anyone with more aura at any point in time. Entire packed theater for this screening. Every single time Denzel Washington did anything on the screen, everyone was just like giddy with joy. It was like watching like a K-pop group with a bunch of teenage girls. Like just him like just sitting menacingly and like adjusting his rings or like fixing the collar on his robe real quick or doing anything. It was just like, oh my God, that's the coolest motherfucker of all time. He's him. Give him his Oscar again right now.
They would be right. Gonna have the Stanley Tucci Denzel showdown for Best Supporting Actor.
I mean, it won't be much of a showdown, I don't think. But Stanley Tucci, you are allowed to just look sad while Denzel Washington wins another Oscar that you had no chance at.
Stanley Tucci's living a great life. All he does is like go to Italy and eat pasta and live in London. Like he's having a great time.
Yeah, he's gonna get to do Two Devil, Two Prada.
Oh yeah,
which is great. But yeah, Gladiator 2 fucking rules. I'm sure we'll do an episode on that, so I won't say too much about it. It rules. Denzel rules. Paul Mescal rules. Pedro Pascal rules. Go see it when it comes out.
I'm so jealous.
I will be there.
I'm so unbelievably jealous that you have seen that movie already.
Same. Can I get a takeoff? And this is gonna hurt.
Oh no.
To say it's gonna hurt. And I'm sorry, but I have to memorialize this take.
Okay.
Nobody loves Wicked more than me. No one. I truly love Wicked. I've seen it literally probably 6 times. I love it. I love the songs. The fucking first song of Wicked is some of the best shit you will ever hear.
Okay.
Guys, I'm seeing these Wicked trailers. I will be seated on night 1, but that shit looks like it might be ass, bro.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It looks like it's going to be
it looks terrible.
It's going to be a mess, guys. I'm sorry. I tried. Roy, I really tried. I love Wicked. I like Cynthia Erivo just fine. Like Ariana Grande, she's cool, I guess. I tried, bros, and I would be more than happy to be wrong because I'm going to watch this film. I'm probably going to take my niece to go see this film. I would love to have a good time. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
It ain't. The vibes are not great, man.
The vibes are not there, bros.
The vibes are not
sorry.
great.
Sorry, bro.
The marketing for this movie has been insane. The press run they've been on is fucking nuts. But like, the trailers don't feel like they're supposed to, man. Like,
I don't think it's gonna hit.
Looks
guys.
bad.
Why is it brown?
Like, it looks bad. I know it cost $9 bajillion. It looks bad, bro.
Why is it brown? Like, why is it so weirdly backlit? Like, it just feels like it was not made by serious people, even though I know it was. It's like, why? It's not supposed to feel like this.
I want to be wrong so bad, guys.
The vibes are not good. It's like when the Lakers signed like Karl Malone and like
Toronto signed Olajuwon.
Yeah, it's like they signed. Or I don't know why I said Karl Malone. That's not what I meant. Who am I thinking of? Fucking
they did sign Karl Malone back in the day.
Did they? Yeah. But yeah, it's like they built that team and it was like, this should be really fucking good. And it just wasn't.
Gary Payton.
Yeah. Or like when the Nets did the fucking Celtics trade and they got like Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce or whatever, and it's like, that should be a really good basketball team, and it just wasn't. That's what Wicked is feeling like right now.
You're saying
Cynthia Erivo really the person you want at the center of Wicked? Is she? Does she have it?
Do we want Cynthia Erivo at the center of anything?
Is she her, guys? I haven't seen it.
Is it time that we have an honest conversation about Cynthia Erivo? I
don't mean any disrespect to a black woman. I don't mean any disrespect. I do not think that. Hey, if I'm wrong, I will come on this podcast. I will kiss that woman's. I will kiss her forehead and say, I apologize. I am sorry. I doubted you. I will eat my words. But as I sit here today and as I've seen these trailers, I think that she is going to be overexposed running the offense through her. I just don't see it. I don't see it, guys.
She's going to be overexposed. I won't talk about Cynthia Erivo, but you know who I can talk about? Ariana Grande. What are you talking about? She's never acted in anything.
Okay, respect Victorious. All right.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My bad.
Respect Sam and Cat. All right.
Yeah, Disney star. I forgot about it. But
do these two women have chemistry? Like,
no,
I just don't know. I don't know, guys. I think that I don't think we're in for like Cats level bad. Y'all remember Cats?
It's not possible to be Cats.
It's not bad. That. I'm not expecting a disaster on that level. I'm just thinking that the best that we can get from what we have assembled on the board is mid. And Wicked is too good to give us mid, but they're going to make $1 bajillion, so they don't really care.
It looks like the biggest 69 to 75% movie on Rotten Tomatoes ever, which is not what you want. You want the 90% musical. You know what I mean? Like, if it's your favorite project of all time, but it looks like it's cruising right for that 72% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, that's going to be tough. I'm an Ariana Grande truther. I think Ariana Grande is the best of her generation in this pop game. I think that she was a perfect casting for this, but I just feel like this movie, it's going to fall apart somewhere, and I feel like she's going to get blamed. She's an easy target, but that's fine. We'll ride on. We'll be okay.
My niece's gonna have the time of her life in this movie, and a piece of me is gonna die because I'm going to know. I need to take you to see Wicked, baby girl, because this is not it. This is the mid-pack at best, and you don't even understand. If you're high off this, you're going to love when we go see the real Wicked, when we can get real cinema. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully this movie is somehow fucking phenomenal, but I'm getting nervous.
But I'm not going to lie to you. Whether it's good, bad, or mid, I'm getting the popcorn bucket. I am.
Wait, which one was that?
It's just like half pink, half green. It's just... It says Wicked all over. It's not like it's not a Dune 2 like inspired.
It should be a witch's hat. What are they doing?
Yeah, but I'm getting the popcorn bucket. It looks sick, and I love Wicked. Wicked was like the first real play I ever saw. So yeah, I fucking love Wicked, and I'm going to be there.
I had nothing more to say on that. I will review it on this podcast, I'm sure. The one thing actually, market it as a part 1. What are you doing? I hate that. We didn't do that with Dune.
Or don't don't make it part 1 and part 2. Just make
True.
the thing.
Wait, is this a part 1, part 2 situation? Maybe I
Yeah.
knew that
It is.
already.
You should have, but it is a
Just-
part 1. But they haven't mentioned that once.
Just do the thing. Just wrap it up. Like, I think they at least did the smart thing where like they just filmed it all at once, and like they're just splitting it up in post or whatever to make it part 1 and part 2. But you didn't have to do that either. Just make a 3-hour movie. That's fine.
We'll move on real quick because we gotta talk about Anora. But real quick, some other things that I have watched. I have been just on a movie grind recently. 2014's nonstop. Liam Neeson bangs. It's the best of the non-takens, and
That's the non-takens.
yeah, Land of Bad actually came out this year, already on Netflix. Land of Mid.
Damn.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like way too good of action sequences for a movie that just didn't have a script. Also, I don't want to besmirch the guy, but like, how is Russell Crowe's like 350 pounds now? Like, he's not the action star in these movies anymore.
Yeah, he was
And
trying to blow up to be the lead of The Whale, and they passed over him. He's stuck with the weight.
What if that was the case? That was true.
I wish that was fucking true. That would be the only good thing about The Whale.
Can you imagine? He gained 200 pounds, and then they put a fat suit on Brendan Fraser, and he won an Oscar.
Yeah, he's just sitting at home crying.
God, I fucking hate that movie. There are so few movies I actively despise.
It's on
like The
Netflix.
Whale.
It's on the front page of Netflix, by the way, under award winners.
Ugh.
And then I watched My Old Ass last night. Dex talked about it a lot last week. Man, I was a mark for this movie from the very beginning.
Delightful little film.
Yeah, really, really good. And you're right, Aubrey Plaza, not really in it, but the 2 minutes that she is in it, very, very good, especially at the end of the movie. And it does a really good job. I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. I think it's really, really good. It does a really good job of wrong footing you on what you think this movie is going to be. It's a little uneven with the comedy at times. Takes some big swings, especially with the Justin Bieber thing in the middle of the movie. But it does a really good job of like looking back on your life. And a lot of millennial filmmakers are starting to get that age where it's like, they remember what it's like to be a kid, but also they're running headlong into their 40s. And it is such a good look or a good take on that. And I think it's Megan Park who did this movie. She also did The Fallout, which I watched on Max, which is a really, really good movie. She has a really good handle on how teenagers talk and feel and emote. And she's just great at it. She's great at this specific thing. Hope she makes more shit. Also, got to have a conversation about Margot Robbie, the producer. She picks just bangers. I will say that.
If we can get her away from whatever like devil magic Emerald Fennell is put on her, then she'd be undefeated. Like
that's also fair. I forgot about those ones. Anyway, and finally today, matinee showing of a wild movie to watch in a matinee, Anora.
Real quick before we do Anora, I want to get your thoughts. I remember texting the group chat a take on My Old Ass, which is that it puts into perspective how wild it is that Coda won Best Picture because that movie is better than Coda.
That's not true. That's not true. It's not true. Coda is a better movie than like this is.
I haven't seen My Old Ass, but that's a low bar.
Coda. I like Coda.
Wicked might be better than Coda, brother.
I like Coda. Coda is good.
Go watch Coda again. It was
No, I refuse.
But that's insane that it won Best Picture.
It is insane that it won Best Picture, but like this movie, Coda's better than this movie. It is very similar in that.
You love My Old Ass. Now you're saying it's not better than Coda?
Coda's way better than My Old Ass, but like I love My Old Ass because of strictly like the warm fuzzies. Like it made me feel things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Made me feel nostalgic in a way that I hadn't felt in a long time. Coda's like, I don't know. It is a better movie than that, but especially a movie named My Old Ass. Let's be so real right now.
That's first of all, that's an incredible title for a film. I don't even know why it's called that, but I like that. Second of all, before I go, Denzel's going to be in an MCU movie, and we haven't even mentioned that on this podcast. Denzel Washington is going to be in the fucking MCU. Denzel's the greatest. I cannot wait to see Gladiator 2. I can't wait to see everything he's doing. Fucking King Lear. He's doing Othello. I will be there for all that shit because I still have been screaming from the rafters that people need to go back and watch the Macbeth movie that he did. That shit is real. Denzel is incredible. There was also talk of him retiring this week, but he came back and said, "I'm not going to retire. It's just going to take a lot to get me in front of the screen because I want to be behind the camera." Very exciting to see Denzel behind the camera. And please never retire, Denzel Washington. Work until you're 90 years old. I love you so much. I cannot fucking wait to see Gladiator 2. That was my Denzel Washington spiel.
It's important to remember that many of your fellow Americans simply cannot read, and so that's why they haven't seen the tragedy of Macbeth.
Facts.
But that movie rules.
Him and Frances McDormand made real cinema, guys. And nobody saw it because it's an Apple movie. And Lord knows Apple would not market a fucking Denzel Washington movie and the most popular poet to have ever lived. It feels like that collab is easy money for Apple, but not if you're Apple, I guess.
I can read. I know I say that I don't, but I can in fact read. I just want to don't put it in the newspaper that I can't read. And I at first didn't understand that movie.
Did I understand what he was saying? No. Did I understand what he was doing? Yeah, he was fucking acting, and it was great.
I had to put on the subtitles. I won't lie to you, but once I did,
it's with the subtitles because in the theater I was like, I don't know what he's saying. I just know that he fucking cooking. That's all I know. But then I watched with the subtitles. Like, yeah, this is even better now. I know what he's saying now. He's even better.
Anything other Denzel takes you want to get off?
No, other than Denzel. If you're listening to this podcast, which I know that you are, I love you. Gladiator 2 is going to be a religious experience for me, and I'm going to do a Gladiator rewatch this weekend, even though I've already seen it probably 50 times. I can't wait. Ridley is him. We're going to have a real conversation about Ridley on this podcast, and I cannot wait because some people on this podcast have been besmirching his name. His name has been besmirched. House of Gucci is great. It's great. I'm saying it's amazing.
It's so good.
It's not, guys. It's not.
All right, I'll listen to the Anora part of this podcast after I see it and have fun, guys.
All right, we'll catch Tej later. You can catch Tej on the Slander You, his less popular podcast.
Damn,
no, kidding. It's way more popular than us. So Anora,
real cinema.
Yeah, real cinema. I don't want to necessarily do a full review because we're going long, and I think we're going to talk about this film a lot going forward.
Yeah, once Pete sees it, we're going to do a whole other episode on
it. Yeah, probably. Sure. Anora, rated R, 8.2, 2 hours, 19 minutes. Just to give you a background, Anora, a young sex worker from Brooklyn, meets and impulsively marries the son of a Russian oligarch. Once the news reaches Russia, her fairy tale is threatened as his parents set out for New York to get the marriage annulled. Written, directed by Sean Baker, also edited by Sean Baker because he does all that himself. Stars Mikey Madison, who you may know from some things, but she is one of 18 actors and actresses that was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that have gone on to do awesome things since. Also in Scream, the reboot in 2022. But yeah, a bunch of other character actors, and I think some real life sex workers were in this movie as well too. But Sean Baker's, I don't know, it's 8th or 9th film, but the third in the line of his popularity ramping up from the Florida Project to Red Rocket to this. He's now starting to become at least a known name in Hollywood. But this is getting rave reviews. It already won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and it is, like I said, it has an 8.2 on IMDb. Let me see the Rotten Tomatoes score.
It was a 96 or something.
Yeah, 97, 91 audience score. Another marvelous chronicle of America's strivers by writer director Sean Baker, given some extra pizzazz by Mikey Madsen's bracy performance. Anora is a romantic drama on the bleeding edge, and it's, let me see what it's doing in theaters real quick.
Not much.
Yeah, not much. 17 million worldwide. kind of hope they ramp this up so people can see it. Just real quick, Dex, what did you think about Anora? Again, the leader in the clubhouse right now for Best Picture.
Okay, first off, impossible for me to talk about this movie without just being like, they was fucking dog.
Go
Oh my
from
goodness.
the jump.
They was in there fucking holy shit. It
Again,
yeah.
weird movie to watch with one other dude in the theater at
Yeah.
1:30 in the afternoon.
Royden texted us that he was going to see this movie today, and I was like, a Thursday matinee of Anora has to be the closest thing to what it was like to go watch porn in the movie theaters back in the day.
I felt like
Well,
Pee Wee Herman out there.
that shit. Oh my god. But it doesn't feel like watching like a real fucking sicko make this movie or
No.
whatever. There's a shit ton of sex and it's like very intimate or whatever, but it's not like what's his name, Euphoria made it or something.
Yeah.
It like feels like it's in service of the plot and it makes sense. But this movie, I really, really liked it. I think it's great. It's definitely in my top 10 for Best Picture. I think it has to be nominated. It has to be nominated for Best Picture. It has to be nominated for a couple of other things. I think Mikey Madison has a shout. I have to see more on like the Best Actress field before I like feel comfortable saying like she's for sure in, but she's probably in. It's super entertaining the entire time, but it feels like it's just missing that little bit extra something, a little extra oomph to like really put it over the top for me and make it like an all-timer. It was on the verge of being an all-timer, but something doesn't quite curl over for me right there. There's like the middle chunk of the movie I think goes on for just a beat too long.
It's long. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes long, basically. Like, yeah.
There's like I won't like get too much into the plot or whatever, but they are like on a chase basically in like the middle chunk of this movie, and I feel like the chase is just a little too long, drags on too much, and then once that kind of resolves itself, the following action of this movie also probably a beat too long, and then the end of the movie, it's just over. It feels like if you could have tightened up any one of those things, then this becomes like an all-time great movie that I'm telling everyone they have to go and see. But as is, still one of the best movies of the year. Mikey Madison is her. I can't wait to see whatever she does next. Sean Baker, I haven't seen The Florida Project and I haven't seen Red Rocket. It seems like people, at least people that I know, like The Florida Project more than they like Red Rocket. So I'll probably go back and watch that one. Red Rocket, I just don't think I could ever see myself being into.
Straight up, like filmed in Port Arthur, Texas.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I don't think I could ever see myself like getting into the movie, but I definitely want to go back and watch Florida Project now, just knowing that guy made this. And yeah, I highly recommend it. A lot of laughs, a lot of drama. And like I said, really impressed with Mikey Madison and what she did in this movie. So I said it's an A- that like flirted with being an A+ for longer than I thought it could. And I think I'm gonna stick there with an A-, but yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I'm at a solid A. I think it does go on for a beat too long, but it goes from being just this. It's like Uncut Gems in a way that we haven't had since Uncut Gems.
True.
And it's just the inertia of this movie is just continuing driving forward, and it's this sexy romp through these like heathens' lives of just like the word like I'm not saying she's the worst, but like the worst people, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
like running around Vegas and doing coke and like being belligerent and like not giving a fuck and being young and dumb and so on and so forth and
being big dumb idiots.
yeah, being obnoxious and just like like if you ran into these people in Vegas, you'd be like, oh my god, stop. But it's just her pursuit of trying to make something of herself. Obviously, there's a little Pretty Woman stuff in there too. Obviously, the story is vividly similar, and there's just this pursuit of the American dream that I think Sean Baker has, from what I've understood, like in his movies, that it runs deep into his movies. But he's not afraid to put just lack of a better, unsavory characters maybe at the front of those movies, and it goes from being this just thrill ride shot out of a rocket thing to being sort of like a scary dark comedy bit in the middle with some of like stuff where you're like, am I supposed to laugh at this? And then you realize you are supposed to laugh at it. Like the whole scene where they're like tying her up and just yelling at each other and continually screaming and like, and she's kicking people in the face and doing all this stuff. It's just hilarity. And it's dark and weird. And she's like, and she plays a character where you like, if you've ever met anybody, like you've met like 1,000 people like this, you know what I mean? Not saying like strippers or prostitutes, but I'm saying just like this girl. And you know, why are you telling me to shut up? No, you shut the fuck up. And da, 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 and it's just going back and forth. And I think, but she does it so well. And then it becomes really heartbreaking at the very end. Like it's like the final shot to me was devastating. And I thought it was really well done and really, you know, like I said, grimy, but sexy and fun and weird and funny. I think it's really, really funny. And I really, really liked it. I think what kind of it sits in the way for me is that they kind of keep kicking the ball down the road a little bit, kicking the rock down the road, if you will, a little bit. Really in the middle where they're just trying to find this guy, but it essentially becomes sort of like a road trip movie in the middle of it. It's really weird. But yeah, Mikey Madison, she'll get nominated. I think that's inevitable at this point. Whether Sean Baker gets like a director nod or a writer nod, who's to say? I'm sure he'll get something in the way of that, and this movie will be nominated, I think, for Best Picture. Will it win? Will it dethrone, you know, Dune, which is carrying a lot of water in the below the line awards and all that? You know, I don't know, but you know, like I said, I always go back to this guy, but Sean Finnessy said that like Sean Baker makes movies, and this movie especially looks, and it's good to have these movies. And we've talked about this a lot on this podcast, but like he makes movies about America that look like a real place. Like he's in the real places. Like he's in Florida. He's in New York filming this movie. He's in Texas filming in like Port Arthur, literally. And like, and he's in these places and he shows you what America actually looks like. And I really appreciate that from a filmmaker. And that makes me want to go watch the rest of his other movies. Like Red Rocket is essentially, it's about like an aging porn star, you know, or a former porn star, like putting that at the center of your movie. You know what I mean? I don't think
like I said, like watching the movie, it doesn't feel like he's a sicko that made this shit. But once you're like, oh, he also made Red Rocket, it's like, is he a sicko? He might be.
It might be a little bit, but like that's fine, you know. Like we gotta, but like none of it also feels like, it's just this movie has a propellant, like it has a, you know, like a rocket shot out of its ass, and it is just going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and everyone's throwing 110, and I really appreciated it. Like I said, it just has that feeling that Uncut Gems had. Maybe not as ominous as what Uncut Gems did, because at the end of Uncut Gems, you're like, oh, I feel bad.
At the end of Uncut Gems, you're like, I need a cigarette. I've never smoked in my life, but like I need this one. Like this movie does a better job of slowing itself down, and that's like both a credit and a fault. Like I said, parts of this movie go on a beat too long. Like like you said, where they're like trying to find the guy, that lasts way too long. And like they do that scene in the restaurant where the old guy is like
yelling at all the
with the TikTok and the Instagrams and the Facebooks. It's like, okay, all right, we need that. Like that's not what this movie has been about this whole time.
Right.
But I mean, I guess it kind of is, but like it felt out of place still. But yeah, I think the difference between this and Uncut Gems is that like Uncut Gems doesn't really have any like heart to it to latch on to.
And there's also no break. There's like several, you know, they never pull the e-brake on this. You know, on Anora, they're like, all right, let's slow down for a minute.
Because they feel like real people instead of you just like watching Adam Sandler like just dive into madness. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, I can see how a real person would arrive to some of the shit they arrive at in Anora.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have to talk about it much anymore. I know we will talk about it once Teach season, and I know we'll talk about it more once the um, Oscars start really get moving in a month, basically a couple months. So we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, anything else on this movie?
Definitely try and go see it in theaters.
Yeah.
You know, don't get up to go to the bathroom in the middle. Yeah.
You can't. I knew I had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, back to Conclave. I made the cardinal sin. I had to get up and go pee. Didn't really miss anything. And this, yeah, you gotta lock in.
Sit down, lock in. You're going to miss some shit if you get up, and this is a lot of fun. Go see it. I'm glad that Oscar movies are allowed to be fun again.
Yeah, thank God. There's still like a message deep down in this movie because at the heart of it, it's like, what is this story? You know, like who would come up with this in their head? But it deep down, it really is a story of like upward mobility in America and like money and how you come about money and generational wealth and selfishness and all of that. But to tell it in this framework is kind of crazy. Anyway, that has been a One Take Podcast. You can find us at One Take Podcast on Twitter, as long as that website still exists. And yeah, Instagram, TikTok, the like. Go read Dex's article.
Please.
On ApolloHOU.com. We have several articles up there. We continue to put content up there. We have some really great Rockets content going up on there as they're good. Thank God.
Thank God. I went last night to the game against the Clippers. The first of 2 games against the Clippers. I think we play them again the next game.
Friday.
But
yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Amin Thompson and Tari Eason, my sons. I love them.
The Disgusting Brothers.
They're so fucking fun.
The Terror Twins. Yeah, so go to ApolloHOU.com. Follow us at ApolloHOU on all platforms and on Blue Sky now, I think, as well, too. So be getting off some skeets.
For the record, I don't think they're actually officially called that. That's just like a
that would be hilarious. Lean into it, Blue Sky. Why not? You need a bit to start because you're essentially a Twitter clone, but without the supremacists. So yeah, lean into skeets. Why not?
Skeet.
All right. Find us at Lord Dexon, at Roy Nogletree, at Less Humble Tej, and we will see you soon. I don't know what's the next big. It's not. Is it Gladiator or
Gladiators and Gladiators next week.
So it'll be the next episode we will do will probably be Gladiator. Also, Moana 2 is coming out, so we got to talk about our Disney properties.
And is Wicked the same day as Gladiator?
That would be like because I think
it is.
Is it? Oh no. That is a tough beat. So Wicked, Gladiator, and okay, so maybe Moana comes out the week after, but yeah. Gladiator 2.
Moana's Thanksgiving weekend.
Gladiator 2 versus I do not want Gladiator 2 to bomb. I cannot lose that way.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't even think about that because they gotta get their shit in that week with Moana 2 dropping for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving gonna blow everything else out of the water.
Woo,
yeah.
Tough.
Taking all those kids on get in the car. We're after eating. Go fall asleep while we're watching Moana 2. All right. So yeah. Dex, as always, what are we doing?
Hashtag support Florence Pugh. Go see We Live in Time if it's still in your theater. It might not be, but if it is, go see it.
It'll be on Max soon.